I got this. I got this. I got this. Hey, I did it. It's usually a little more smooth when I'm not on camera as well, you know? But anyways, hi everyone. Welcome to Nom Watch Review, part of Nom Talk Network. I don't know where the icon is anyways. On this show we review the latest film drop or perhaps a throwback celebrating a good milestone while eating and drinking our favorite snacky snacks. I am your host slash producer, Stephanie. Wah, wah, wah. And right now, I'm enjoying a fruit punch wave roaring waters Capri Sun, and I'm snacking on. You're gonna hear all the noise. A Siete grain-free cinnamon chips. Ooh, churro strips. That's what it is. That's what it is. It smells so good. It smells so freaking good right now. Anyways, I would love to introduce our guests, Derrick and Raven. Raven, hi. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, what you snacking on, what do you, yeah, that.
Branding again to Sanguine Threads, which, if you've known me for a long while, that's where I started out, and that's what's always been in my heart. And I am going back to my roots and putting all of my work out there. So, art and clothing and creativity. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So, keep your eyes out for me on Twitter and on Instagram and probably some other places. And please, by all means, stop by, start a conversation with me. I'm a bit more of an introvert than I seem, I swear.
Yeah, sure.
Today I've got, I swear I am. I can't start a conversation, start my life, but if I have that moment of, okay, we're having this conversation, cool, it goes. But yeah, I know, grabbed myself a little bit of Del Taco. So I've got a soda there, and I'm nomming on a bean and cheese burrito with chipotle sauce, because this chipotle sauce is like rocks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Noise. I just had Del Taco for lunch.
Oh,
Great
nice.
minds think alike.
Mhm.
And we also have Derrick. Wah, wah,
Hey guys,
wah.
what's going on? Very glad to be back, and I'm very excited to debut my wonderful early birthday gift that I discovered by cleaning this room, by the way, this office that I'm in. My girlfriend had hid it, and I thought it was some random thing that we had ordered off of Amazon that we all forgot about. You know when you do that, where like
Yeah.
you just get so many boxes and you're like, what the hell is this? And so I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So I put it up on the armoire, and so she comes home and she's like, you found your birthday gift? My birthday's not until like November 12th, so she was all mad. But it was specifically bought for this show because I guest on the show so much. So it is my very own personalized popcorn bucket with my name on it already engraved. So of course I'm eating some delicious popcorn, making use of it. Yes, it's very exciting.
Oh my God. I love it.
And then I'm just drinking water, so that's super lame. But the popcorn bucket, I was very excited to debut.
No, for sure. Huzzah. I'm so, aw. Tell your girlfriend I love her.
That is so sweet. Love it.
I should be buying you guys the buckets.
Are we allowed to curse on this show?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, thank God.
I haven't been flagged. People can suck it. And
like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to curse or anything, but every now and again it just comes out, especially when I'm watching like really good, trashy, cheesy movies.
Like Ghost Ship?
Yes!
Like Ghost Ship.
It's my favorite.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, as you hear, yes, we are today we are talking about the 2002 icky supernatural horror movie Ghost Ship.
It was 20.
It's 20, y'all.
20 years old.
20 years old. It is 20
like
years
tomorrow,
old.
To the day, tomorrow, it's 20 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't plan this out. What? But very quickly, I would love to know your popcorn ratings and people in the chat as well. If you are listening to this, comment. If you are watching this, comment. But let's talk popcorn ratings. Raven, would you like to go first?
Okay, so for me, I absolutely love a trashy, cheesy, awful movie. And we can all admit that this is absolute trash at its best. Like, oh, so for me, it's a 2.5 popcorn buckets, but with 2 big pumps of butter on top, because it's so good, but it's so bad, but it's so good.
Love it.
There we go.
I love it.
Derrick?
All right. Well, I love popcorn, but I do try to be as healthy as I can sometimes. So I don't put butter on my popcorn, unfortunately. Well, it's just all the butter and natural salt that I get from the popcorn itself. So I do think that this movie deserves a 2.5. I think she's spot on. This movie is trash. Like from almost beginning to end, this movie is absolute horror trash. But it is it's not even so bad it's good, because every time you go to tune out, something will happen where you're like, but that's good, but that's so good. And so you just like, you constantly get sucked back in. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it as we dig into it. But 2.5, it is not a good movie, but there are some good things in this movie that make it hard for me to be like, yeah, just throw this in the fire and never just burn all copies.
I mean, the cast honestly saves
Christ.
this movie. Like, you could tell that they were given the worst script ever written, and they are just trying to act the living fuck out of it. And you're just going,
They're trying so hard. All of them. Everybody in this movie is trying so hard. I want to see the blooper reel of this. I'm just every scene of, like, there has to be hours of footage on the editing floor of them just cracking up, like reading their lines and being like, you want me to say what?
Yep. I actually gave this film a 3.5 popcorn. One, I don't usually get to do these, so that's why I'm super happy. And y'all have harped so much that yes, we all get half popcorns now. But this is a 3.5 for me because of that reason of, you can completely tune out, hop back in, and be like, okay, I can still watch this. I'm still latched on. It is absolutely an atrocious movie. There are many plot holes. There's many continuity issues. There's like, look, this is a 2002 film.
She?
But who this bitch? But let's get into it. Before we do, I'm going to do a shout out to Q Ball, who is in the chat and watching right now. What's up, Q? He says, happy evening, y'all. Happy early Halloween. Just finished 2 small pork chops and mashed potatoes and gravy and drinking Sprite.
Nice.
He's also saying, I'm checking this movie later and my girlfriend loves this shit. LOL. Well, we're going to laugh through this entire process because we all agree this is not the best movie in the world, but it's a stupid movie to watch during October, any spoopy time.
Yeah.
Let's go into the plot, the story. Let's talk about the story. How did you feel about, like, these people who, like, loot boats and strip them for parts for profit? Like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the ship story? How did you feel about that what's that stupid word? Plot twist. Yes.
Oh.
How did you feel about the plot twist? There's so much.
The one you can see coming a mile away because it's Desmond fucking Harrington. Like,
right, but it's done so well that you're just fixated on it as it's going through, and you're like, oh my god.
He is one of those guys where I don't know what it is about his face, but every time I see it, I just want to punch it. And look, Desmond Harrington is a solid actor. Like, I'm not going to, like, discredit his talent, but I don't know if it's the jawline or the eyes, but, like, there is just something about the way his face is structured where every time it shows up, I'm like, I really hope you're a bad guy because I need you to die horribly in whatever this movie is. And so, of course, as soon as he shows up with, given the proposition for the ship or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, that's him. Like, I all the way 20 years ago, I knew that was the case. But as far as plot goes, I will say that this movie, there are so many decent things that could be better in this. Like this, I think it was Roger Ebert that was like, it's not as bad as you're expecting, but it's not as good either. Like it has this deep rooted potential where, like, a lot of these little elements of, like, because it's not just that the ship is a ghost ship. Like you're dealing with like demonic possession, and you're dealing with hell, and you're dealing with, you know, this portal and this soul collection and gold and all of these different things. And all of these different elements are fascinating to me. I think they, in a better script, would actually serve as a pretty solid horror film. So you know, as far as plot goes, I mean, look, two of the best scenes in the movie tell the same scene in completely different ways, which just make no sense whatsoever. Like it opens with like one of the best cinematic horror sequences of all time. Like it is absolutely epic. Like if only the rest of the movie was that good, but like that whole first like 5-10 minute sequence, I was just like, yes, I am sold for this. And then halfway through the movie, Emily goes and retells the same story in a completely different way. Like none of that happened. And you're just like, what? Huh? What? Okay, cool. I guess.
Like,
so yeah, there's a lot.
Get from there to there. Like I get that it's being told from two different perspectives.
Yeah.
But you're like, but how? But I mean, it was fascinating to watch. It was cinematically amazing to watch. But it was like, when you thought about it, you're like, nope. I gotta stop thinking. Yeah,
it's a little rough. But I mean, yeah, plot wise, I mean, I think it does whiz by because it does bake a lot of its own tropes into, like, it is by nature just a ghost story. Like there's really nothing else outside of that you need. And it follows, you know, it's got all of your same characters. It's got all of your same narrative entry points. Everything just unfolds the way that a typical ghost story would. I feel like it lacks the imagination that could make it a really good ghost story. And then everything just feels undercooked. Like the whole plot across the board just feels like they never really wanted to lean into any of the things that could make the movie interesting. And they just wanted to, you know, roll the B-roll and get it all in. So yeah.
Raven?
Yeah. No. He's absolutely correct. It's like every time you say plot, I have to giggle because there isn't one. There's like 3, maybe 4 or 5. We're not quite sure, but it's more like a loosely braided subplot thread line that it's sort of formed a movie. I'm not sure, but it's so freaking entertaining to watch. And like I said, the cast saves it. You know, they got handed these scripts and they're like, crap, what did I agree to? Shit, I am going to do the absolute maximum effort that I can with this, and I'm gonna get it done. Because like you have Carl Urban in it. Like you have, oh god, I am so horrible with names, but you had the woman who played on ER.
Juliana Margulies.
Thank you. You've got these
Desmond Harrington, Isaiah Washington, Gabriel Byrne. What?
Like, all of these big heavy hitters that we knew really well, especially in the early 2000s. Like they were solid character actors that we knew. And so like they acted the living daylights out of what they were given. But what they were given was a heaping pile of shit.
We even get a baby Emily Browning in this movie. Like that is like down to the ghost child. This cast is stacked with people 20 years ago. Like that is insane to me.
And for those who don't know, Emily, what else has she been in? Because I only know Emily Browning from Glee.
Oh, okay. So her big feature that really kind of put her on the map. Obviously, she's been working, but where most people would know her from, as far as like blockbusters, would be another terrible movie with great idea. Is Sucker Punch. She's the lead in Sucker Punch.
Oh my god!
Yep, I do movies for a living, baby.
Oh my bad, she's not even from Glee. Oh,
oh my god! Oh my! I am today years old. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
And you're right. It was, oh man, that was visually an amazing movie, but
trash. But trash.
I still want to watch it.
Same.
Same.
That's, you know what?
I know the ending.
I'm assuming we can say this.
I've seen parts and like scenes, but I've never actually sat through.
I'm assuming we can say this on the show, but have an edible. It'll be the best movie you've ever seen in your life.
I can make that happen.
Sucker Punch will skyrocket to like a cinematic masterpiece on just a good Delta 8 gummy. Holy shit, you'll be good.
Well,
you'll be set.
She was Violet Baudelaire in a series of unfortunate events from 2004.
Yep.
Oh, that's how.
I love this.
Well, the more you know.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I forgot she was in this movie, and then she popped up, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's her!"
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that. Yeah, you guys are on the dot. I don't even know why I'm even here. I'm just here to like click buttons and be there to make awkward even worse. But I agree. I completely agree. There were so many different stories within the movie that it was hard to keep track of what was actually important. It was an absolute clusterfuck of random. It's like they wanted to make 3 different like ghost movies at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was looking, and we can absolutely start moving into this afterwards. I was looking, I was like, who directed this? It's the same guy from 13 Ghosts. So his filmography is 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship, and that's it.
That movie I adore. I adore that movie.
God, yes.
I know 13 Ghosts is trash. Like you don't have to convince me. But that movie is a 5 out of 5 for me. I absolutely adore that movie. But now that you say that,
Lillard.
Oh my God, slaying it. Let me know when we do 13 Ghosts again. I'm on board.
I don't care if I have to take a day off from work.
But it makes sense because I think 13 Ghosts is actually better, just on the surface when you talk about just ghost stories in general. But it does commit a lot of the same mistakes, like the things that you're talking about, like 13 Ghosts has like 4 or 5 different things going on at the same time. Like there are so many different ghost stories being told in this one singular movie. But just like you said, Raven, the cast in 13 Ghosts is elevating the hell out of this terrible, terrible script and just giving it. Oh my God, what? What are you talking about? So it's strange that back to back, this guy literally makes basically the same movie, right? Like he makes the same movie in 2 different settings with powerhouse casts and just cannot get a script that's doing him service, because the film is directed well too. That's the thing, is like you're just working up this really, really shitty script, but you've got the cast, you've got fucking Robert Zemeckis producing this thing. Why in the world? You have A-class special effects in this movie. The only thing that's truly holding this movie back from being a true classic in horror is the script. And I feel the same way about 13 Ghosts. I forgive a lot more in 13 Ghosts because I think, Matthew Lillard is doing more than almost anybody in the Ghost Ship cast, just all by himself, just shouldering that shit.
He ate and left no crumbs.
Oh, I love him.
He was so good in that movie.
I love it. He's so good. He makes Raw Digga feel like she might actually be an actress. Like, what? Come on. Let's go. I love it so much.
While we dehydrate from this thirst that we have of Matthew Lillard, Cue Ball has redeemed hydrate. So cheers. Okay. We're gonna drink our dwinks. And now I know when I want to know what was going on in Mark Hanlon. Was it Hanlon? Hanlon? And John Pogue. They were the writers. Yeah. And I want to know what the hell.
Oh.
What the hell?
Wow.
Like, if this was supposed to be kind of like a separate but part of the 13 Ghost universe, I would love to know. But can you please clarify and clean up your mess? Because goodness gracious, you spilled a bag of peanuts.
Yeah. So let me enlighten you guys a little bit. So Mark Hanlon has done Ghost Ship, and then John Pogge, because that's it. That's all he's done. John Bogey has done The Skulls. He did he did Rollerball, which is hands down one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh God, no.
The Skulls 2, Ghost Ship, Quarantine 2, Blood Brothers Wake, Deep Blue Sea 3.
What? Oh no!
What the bloody hell?
and Eraser Reborn. So,
Oh no!
so
No.
if you want to know what his writing and directing prowess is and how it lines up with Ghost Ship,
Yes.
I think that tells you what he was thinking.
I think Ghost Ship was his pinnacle.
There's a peak, and I think it's Ghost
Yeah.
Ship, which isn't saying a lot.
Right? Like him being an executive producer for Fast and Furious doesn't cut it.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
Mm.
No, not at all.
And
You,
that's
you
an
don't get that
accident.
mass, John. You don't
No,
get
not
that
at all.
mass.
Not at all. And that's an accident because you're basically rebranding Point Break just with cars. So like the script's already written for you. You didn't have to do anything. The movie's already made.
and you just did it basically over and over.
That's it. Yeah.
Over,
So
over
yeah,
again.
you don't get any credit for
In
that, sir. I'm
perpetuity.
sorry.
Yeah, people are only watching it for Vin Diesel and cars, all right?
Yeah.
Vin Diesel cars and the soundtrack, because that soundtrack is popping.
Right. Right.
Okay, since we kind of mashed a couple things together, let's talk about the actors because yes, they basically are the only reason why anybody watches these movies anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive in. We basically know who stars are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Because I'm losing it over here on my Chrome.
Yeah. You want to go down the list?
Here we go. We have Gabriel Byrne as Sean Murphy, Juliana Margulies.
Margulies,
I'm gonna
that's right.
murder it all as Maureen Epps, Ron Eldard as Dodge, Desmond Harrington as Jack Ferryman, Isaiah Washington as Greer, Alex Dimitriades as Santos, Carl Urban as Munder, Emily Browning, Francesca Rettandini as Francesca, and Monica, by the way, as the singing voice. So ho hum. And then we have Boris Burkick as Chief Steward, Bob Ruggiero. God, I'm not even drunk. Ruggiero as Captain. Fucking last name, same last name, and Ian Gardner as Purser. There we go. I'm done.
There you go.
We're good.
You did great.
Christ.
You
Maybe
did great.
that should be the show. Like, here, Steph, try pronouncing these fucking names.
Fantastic.
Get drunk. But anyways, we all agreed that they basically carried this movie, and they are the only reasons that anybody would have watched this movie ever.
Yeah,
but
no, for sure. I want to highlight somebody that I genuinely love because he's in one of my favorite movies, which again isn't a good movie, but I just adore it. And that's Sleepers. Did you guys ever see Sleepers?
Yeah,
I love that movie. I adore that movie. Brad Renfro, just a ton of young actors, and then it's got all kinds of heavy hitters, but he's in this movie and he's absolutely fantastic. So Ron Eggard is very, very good. So don't let Ghost Ship fool you, because he's in Sleepers, Deep Impact. He did a version of Death the Salesman. He was in House of Sand and Fog, which is a phenomenal film. I highly recommend that one. He was in Plain Sight, Super 8. He was in Justified for a while. Really, really solid actor. And he's one of those guys where like, when you see his face, you'll be like, oh, it's that guy, but nobody knows his name. Like,
I
think those are some of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, for the longest time, I could not tell you who Ron Perlman was if you said his name. But then, like, if I saw his face, I was like, oh my God, it's that guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah. But for those thinking, oh, where does this guy fall in Ghost Ship? So he's Dodge, which is Dodge and Munder, which are basically the comedic relief of this entire film. So that's Carl Urban and Ron Eggard. And they are just, they're a damn delight. When both of them died, I was like, no, I wanted you to make it.
Yeah.
And look, God, pour one out for my boy Carl Urban, because that death is brutal. It's such a brutal death. And yeah, like they were like, oh, make sure he's working on the engine room, and they were like, well, no, the engine's gonna run him through the room. And I was like, oh, okay, we're not even gonna build up to that. Okay, cool.
Right.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
God, right. Thanks, like, okay.
Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, let's talk about those deaths, because with Greer, who was Isaiah Washington, I was a little pissed. I was like, "Weren't you just gushing about your fiance, like your soon-to-be fiance? Like this sounds a
Mhm.
little familiar, BuzzFeed." And all of a sudden now you're thirsting over this rando lady who's in a ghost ship, who's in an abandoned ship, by the way. Like, how do you not?
Right?
No,
What?
Like,
what's even funnier is he knows she's a ghost. He says so. He absolutely delivers a line that says, "I know you're not real, but in principle, I can't cheat," and then follows her down a fucking elevator shaft. Like, what?
he's a full grown ass black man on a ghost ship. Bitch, he would have walked across water and put his ass right the fuck back on land the moment a ghost showed up. Nope, gone, bye, gone. No, like that was the most unbelievable part for me, was that he would just follow a ghost. I'm like, no, black people don't fuck with ghosts.
No.
We really don't.
Not at all. Not
We
at all.
don't. It would have
Not
been
at
like, oh, that's ghost. Getting back on my tugboat and getting the fuck out of here. No.
Yeah. And that's one of those, like, that's one of those things. I mean, look, Isaiah's doing what he can, right? He's
True.
trying to make it believable, but it is one of those scenes where, like, the character is not only making dumb decisions, but they're drawing attention to the dumb decisions that they're making. And that's one of those, like, you have to pick one, right? Like, you can't
A struggle.
Yeah, you can't just say the quiet part out loud in a ghost story, guys. Like, either you don't know it's a ghost or you do and you live. Like, those are your only two choices. But yeah, his death, like, and we don't even really get to see it, right? Because he falls down the shaft, but then like 20 minutes later, they discover his body, all spiked out. But
Yeah. Like the most we got was a thud.
yeah.
Ugh. What's another one? The is it Sean? Who gets drowned?
That's Gabriel. What's his name? Murphy.
Oh, so
gets
it is
drowned.
Murphy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
another tragedy because he was completely delirious and then he drowns.
Yeah, that's one of my big issues with this movie too, is like we know that you have this special effects at your disposal, right? Because you start the film with just incredible gore, like just of like one of the best mass death scenes I've ever seen on film. Like, it's so good. So we know that you can do it, but then they spend the rest of the movie killing off all of this crew by cutting away. Like, we only ever actually see one death, which is Carl Urban's death. All the rest of them, they all die off screen. Which again is one of those things where, like, you're not utilizing the things that you have at your disposal, right? You've got this garbage script, so your cast is doing everything they can to elevate it. Your director's really trying to put these weird ass pieces together. You have top-notch special effects working at your disposal, and you're like, no, we don't have time to show that. Like, right. But you do. You really do. Like, I would like to see Gabriel Byrne drown. I would like to see it. I'm sorry, but I want to see it. I want to see it. Oh. Give me the movie magic. Come on.
They used up all the movie magic in the first scene.
Yeah.
Well, no, and like it's like they had just enough for the beginning scene and for like the end scene where they're taking you backwards through, and like there was all that kind of shit going on, and I'm just like, I love that they are there. I absolutely adore that they are there, but I'm just like, you missed all of the in between.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like, so if we go back to something like, I'll use an example of like Evil Dead, right? Evil Dead is a good example because Evil Dead is awful. Like, just by any standard, it's pretty terrible, right? But Raimi is so committed to showing you the things that he can do with his limited budget that you instantly become a fan. You see every death, you see every grotesque thing that happens. So when someone wants to come in and remake it, and I actually generally like the remake that they did, but when someone wants to come in and do that, all they have to do is elevate the gore. So something like Ghost Ship, it's like, dude, you've got the budget, you've got the talent, utilize that. Because now, instead of us just talking about two great scenes, one at the beginning and one halfway through the end of the film, like we could be talking about 6 or 7 different scenes that all involve these great classic horror movie deaths. And now Ghost Ship, honestly, if I got to see everybody die, it sounds so macabre. It sounds horrible.
I know, right?
If I got to see everybody die in Ghost Ship, I'd give it an extra point. Like I'd be up to where you're at 3.5, because now all of this bad writing is being punctuated by things I go to horror movies for, right? I go to horror movies for the supernatural. I go to horror, even cheesy bad ones. I go to them to watch these people die. Like that's what you do when you go to see a horror movie, and it just doesn't give you that. And so it's like, it almost feels kind of wasted. And then when you see that they can do it, you're like, okay, so now you're purposefully not giving us what we want.
I know a movie that did that. Final Destination. Absolute trash.
Yes.
But so good
Yeah.
when it came to the horror of each character's death.
Yep.
It changed 2 generations. I don't know a single person who likes to drive behind logging trucks now.
Nope.
Like
Don't
when you
trust
see
them.
a logging truck, everybody's getting out
Not
of the
today,
way.
Satan.
They do not care. Either we get past them or we are just like,
Yep.
nope.
That's
Not today, Satan.
it truthfully, that's the only thing I've ever done on the internet that has ever gone viral. I was driving on the 5 and I was behind one of those trucks, and I took a picture and then just captioned it and put it up as a meme. Literally every year it'll get shared in groups I'm not a part of. Like I did this 10 years ago and that shit is still floating around, and that's not credit to me. That's absolutely credit to something like Final Destination. And even as overstayed as that welcome is for that series, we now go to Final Destination the same way you go to a Fast and the Furious movie. We go because we want to see the creative ways that these people die. Like, and it doesn't matter if it's predictable or not. It's that thrill of being like, oh shit, I see a garbage disposal
Go
going down.
It's like, how are they going to Rube Goldberg this one?
Yep.
Because you've got to kill 2,000 people in 30 seconds. How are you going to Rube Goldberg this shit? And they did it at a NASCAR race. I'm like,
so good. So good.
Shit.
It's so good. But that's a great point. That's the kind of creativity that I want from Ghost Ship, and it's not there.
Yeah, it's like it just needed that little bit of extra. If they had just put some more into the effects, into really punctuating that death, so that like, oh god, no, don't, oh no, just like that's why I go to a horror film. Like most horror films are kind of comedy to me because they're just awful and predictable, and they're more laughable than anything. But like the truly good ones, you're just like, oh, dude, oh no, like you get emotionally attached.
Yeah,
you get into the storyline. You're just waiting for the next thing. You're rooting for them to live, but somebody's about to die, so you're like, yay, oh god, no. Like that's what we want to see. We don't want to just see gore for gore's sake. It's like, no, like have story, have creativity, like get me invested in a character, get me invested in their ultimate fate.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see a horror movie where everybody lived, but they were all kind of emotionally scarred from some of the shit that went on. Like I would love to see that, because I don't think I've seen that in any memory. But like if you're going to a horror movie, you want to see that death.
Yeah.
You want to have that punctuated, oh god, creative, but oh god, like that's what you're looking for.
And there's that tease, right? That tease of like, you get the excitement of you kind of hope against hope that they might actually make it, and then they don't, and then you're like, and again, just tying it back to Ghost Ship, like it doesn't have any of that. Like that's a big knock on this film when we talk about the deaths and just kind of how the film unfolds. It even even Carl Urban, which should be such a fantastic death. Like, it should be one of those ones that does every single reaction Raven just went through. Like, that's exactly, you should feel every, like, watching his body get put through the, like, you should just be, oh God, no. But you're not, because it literally, oh, where is he? Oh, he's in the, okay, he's dead. Like, that's
Right.
how it all unfolds. And you're like, oh, well, that was anticlimactic. Like, I didn't even get to invest in it. So, yeah.
Exactly. Aside from the 1962 murderers, like, all we get is, oh, where's this guy? Hey, I found him, and he's dead.
Yeah.
Just like the whole
And
time.
I mean, and your opening scene sets what was supposed to be the supposed tone for your movie.
Yeah.
And that opening scene is visceral.
God,
it is
it's so good.
shocking.
Oh.
It is so well orchestrated and horrifying. And you're just going, what the fuck just happened? So it set this tone that you thought you were going to be seeing more of that. And instead you were like, oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Like,
yep.
Full disclosure, though, like, I do not like watching horror movies because I'm a very skittish person.
mhm.
If I can watch the movie from beginning to end, you got a bad, scary movie.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a big deal. It really is, because I'm sure, like she said, if the whole movie had the cinematic mastery of that opening, I don't think you could get through it. I think after that first death, you'd be like, nope, I'm turning it off. I can't watch Ghost Ship.
Like, I need people sitting next to me. I'm gonna be like wrenched onto their hand. Oh, dude, the fuck no! I don't think I can do this. Yeah. It would be white knuckle. You'd have to white knuckle it through. But like, this was like, oh, really good opening. It's like really good foreplay. Mediocre missionary. Then he figures out, no, flip it around. We need some doggy in there. And you're like, that was not bad. That middle part wasn't great. But overall, come back for some more.
Right, like, I'll come back for another round. Yeah.
If I'm bored.
I will see, now I'm wondering, because we also never saw the little girl Katie get murdered, but we did see in some parts that she was hung, which is one, very, very tragic for a little child or anybody in that matter to be hung. Second, I'm wondering if they just didn't show these people's murders because they are like the headliners. Like, was there some kind of cost? See, now after like G4, like, I'm always wondering, I'm like, was there a cost? Could they not, did they bust their budget too early? Like, was most of the budget put on the fucking ship?
I don't know that this movie was that expensive. I think I read somewhere it was like, it was only 11 million.
Yeah, it was.
I think something like that. It was not out of this world expensive to make. Yeah.
Especially even in that day and age, even 20 years ago, that was a very small budget, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's yeah, and one of the things that kind of tying it back a little bit to things like Evil Dead, but one of the things I think, especially with the resurgence of horror right now, because I think horror is doing a very, very good job in, I mean, this is, I'm not even a horror fan, and this has been like, there's like 5 horror movies that have made it into like my top 20 of 2022. Like, it's just been an incredible year. But horror is notorious for having the ability to create really, really amazing special effects for practically nothing. And that's, so for Ghost Ship to kind of, maybe those people didn't want to die, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, well then just let your final girl be Julia Margulies and then just cast nobodies across the board so that you can kill them all. Like, that's, that's fine. And it's, again, that they can do it, because even the singer girl, like, she has a great brutal death, like that hook in the mouth and then the branding and then spinning her around. Like, okay, I'm on board with this. Like, this is great. And
again, it that death followed the same kind of intensity that
Yeah.
that opening death
Yeah.
scene was. So it's like that's what makes them not killing people in a more visceral way that much more just because it's like you get some brutal deaths that you're just like, holy shit, and it follows the same tone as your opening scene. But then like the ones that you should actually care about, which are the characters that you've spent the most time with and gotten to know the best, we get really no catharsis from it. So it's like
Yeah, I just searched it, and their budget was about approximately 20 million.
Oh, okay. I
Opening
undershot big time.
opening weekend for the US and Canada though, 10 million.
Ah, that's where it is. Okay. That's where it is.
That's what it was. Yeah, gross worldwide was 68,349,884. I wish I had that money, but bitch is just gonna be broke.
$10 million opening weekend is actually not that bad.
It's really not.
Especially
I read,
that.
I think I read that it got slaughtered by the Jackass movie. So it came out around the same time, and that is just
you
want to talk about visceral imagery,
right?
See, now I just want to do future streams, like at least for this month, just shitting on all the really bad, scary movies.
Oh, fuck
there's some bad ones out there, but there's some also ones that are like so. For Ghost Ship, I feel I actually want somebody to try to remake this movie. This is a movie that I think, and I don't think you'll have to do a lot. You can literally just make the movie, but just get a tighter script, get somebody that's a little bit more adept to give these characters more to do, and then just get somebody that understands horror. And I think with the resurgence of horror that we have now, and the things that Shudder is doing, where they're just putting out bangers, like let Blumhouse get a hold of Ghost Ship. Like let Jason Blum get his hands into Ghost Ship and tell me you would not watch that movie. Like I am there, so I'll buy my ticket right now before it's even in production. I'm on board.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And even at the end of the movie, they kind of left it open ended for that possibility.
Yeah.
So
which is and I almost want because again, Desmond Harrington is he just screams evil to me. So like you just know the minute he shows up, like, oh yeah, well yeah, this is the bad guy. And as good as they do, because they do, that's one of the few things they do very well in how they kind of reintroduce him, and the whole time he's playing it up as a good guy. And I think that if you had somebody like Blumhouse or Shudder that was able to really cast somebody that like you really do think is, oh yeah, no, this is the good guy. Like this is the guy that's going to save us all. And then we get the twist that like, no, he's the one that's been killing everybody. Like that's the take back. That's the blow away. Because again, Ghost Ship just lacks the imagination for the things that it's actually trying to do. The idea that she thinks she beat this demon only for him to board another ship in the end. That's a great ending. That is an amazing, fantastic ending, but it holds zero weight because you don't actually care about these characters. You're not as invested in them as you should be. So it's got this great idea that's just a little undercooked. It's just not quite there for where it should be. It's somebody needs to just throw it on the grill just a little bit longer and it would hit a little harder.
I was about to compare it to the newly hired Subway sandwich making guy. Great bread, great idea of a sandwich, but if you're not doing well with filling that sandwich in, bud, it ain't a good sandwich. Shame on you out there. Give me more meat. All right, anyways.
Come on, man. Stop being so stingy.
Stop being stingy. Give me more fucking sausage.
Yeah, come on, Chipotle.
Seriously.
But Raven, I'm so sorry. I feel like I hopped in. I jumped in line for that.
No. You were saying all of the things that I was absolutely no, you're right. No, that is exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like they had so much potential. And if they decided to make like a remake, I'd say do it as a prequel.
Sure.
Like show that this fucking demon has been at it for a long time. It's not just this particular ghost ship. Yes, he liked having this particular ghost ship. He liked, ferrying it along because it was a good lure. But like, show him, hopping on to like, say, an old Spanish galleon.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
Yes, Pirates of the
Let's
Caribbean.
go.
Let's
Yeah,
go,
like
Oh my
maybe it's a
gosh.
lost Armada ship,
Yeah.
or an old Dutch colonial ship.
Yeah.
Like,
that's one of the great things about, and again, it's just that lack of imagination in the script, but like, you have the genuine potential to create an actual demon that can just travel through time. Like, just you have in the palm of your hand, you have a Jason, you have a Freddy, you have a Michael Myers, you have, whatever iteration of this person you want to put, you like any time period. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what time period you want. Just boom, ghost ship 1492. Like, okay, there were 4 ships that were supposed to discover America, and one of them is a ghost ship. Like, okay,
like a merchant. What about a merchant junk?
Yes.
So you could go Asian, like you could go.
Oh my
Norse.
God, yes.
You could go so many different ways with that. You could go Polynesian.
Yeah.
And just show just a spirit of the ocean that got really pissed off, or the spirit of like, say, an island who felt shunned or disrespected by travelers because they stopped and just dropped off their trash and paid it,
or they ravaged the land, or whatever. Like, there's all
colonists.
kinds of oh my God, oh my God. And just curse the ship and just and this demon, like, because I like the idea that this demon is pretty much after rotten people, right? Like, it uses all of the things that entice people to they say to sin, but really it's it entices greed, it entices violence, and so those things are timeless across any nation, across any, like, you can just literally put this guy anywhere, and it doesn't matter how he appears, and it doesn't matter what his motivations are, and they can even be slightly good, but like, you just have a demon going after bad people. And yes, please, I would like this. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah. Wait, who are the production companies? Dark Castle Entertainment, Village Roadshow Pictures,
yeah,
MPV Entertainment, distributed Warner Brothers. I swear to God, you just laid off a bunch of people. You better bring some people back and make some really good content.
I know Village Roadshow. I know they're still around. Let them partner with Blumhouse or Shudder, these people that know how to do horror, and let's do it. Give them $10 million.
Asylum.
Yeah. Come on, I love it. Give them $10 million, and they're gonna make the best Ghost Ship remake ever. That's it. That's all they need. They don't need 20.
Look,
give them 10 years, and we're good.
You got 5 years till the 25th, and that's a quarter century of a celebration. What better way?
Yeah, we would all like a story by, though. So Jason, if you're listening,
like a great
story by this Nom Talk crew right here. Thank you.
Come bring us in. We've got some great ideas.
Right? Hire us on. I need a job. Hire us in.
I shouldn't laugh, but
she's
funny.
amazing.
No, it's okay.
Amazing.
Please laugh, because it's been almost a week. Like, if I'm not laughing at it, then I'm still upset, and I'm not. I'm not.
Well, look, if Ghost Ship can't give us catharsis, hopefully you can get some. So.
Q said the writers were probably drunk and high and said, like, oh, let's write a movie about a ghost ship with cramped story for drunks and stoners. Like, bro, it wasn't even DS approved, okay?
Yeah.
DNS not approved.
Yeah, for sure.
We're in our last 10 minutes or so. Okay, can I say, like, I wrote two things for my notes, and that was it. That's how bad I am at my job. If this was your profession, the shipwrecky people, like, you would be wearing protective gear, like gloves, goggles. I saw one person wearing it, and she's the only one that survived that entire flippin' thing. So,
they'd be wearing full respirators. Like, you don't step onto a salvage ship, especially an old salvage ship, between the mold and the fungus spores that you do not want to be inhaling. For as much as rats are there, which carry kinds of diseases. You've got rotting bodies, more than likely, which again spreads all kinds of hellacious.
Oh, the methane gases coming out of those bodies.
Yeah.
No,
Oof.
and like even if it's been over time, you've still got a lot of stuff that's like growing and forming because it's a moist
Oh, no.
environment.
Yeah.
It's no, just no.
Yeah, I
so-
agree. There has I wish there was because like you can't
Derek,
cover
hold on,
you can't
hold
cover
on.
their faces.
Oh dear God.
Q,
what's
you better
wrong?
apologize. Q
Oh, no.
redeemed talk in third person.
Oh god damn it. I
So
hate
Derek,
this one.
continue, buddy.
Derek thinks this one is better than the sing along, so please don't claim that because Derek's not doing it. Shoot, now I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Yes. Okay, so Derek thinks that one of the reasons they probably didn't have a lot of gear is because they do have to show their faces. But Derek does agree that you got to have something, right? Because Derek thinks that, yeah, just because you have a ragtag group of salvagers, which Derek thinks is fine, that's a fine trope to have. But just because you have that doesn't mean that they can't have anything, like that they're just in their t-shirts and sweats and then they go out to sea and salvage ships. Like Derek thinks that's ridiculous.
Derek calls shenanigans.
Raven calls
Derek
shenanigans
does.
too.
Stephanie also calls shenanigans. How dare. Cue Ball does have a question. My question is, if you were the director of the film, what would you do or redo? Stephanie would rewrite the goddamn story. But Raven, do you want to start on that one?
Well, Raven would probably go in and include the deaths that we were talking about with top of the line special effects for the day, especially practical effects, because I think we were missing some of that. They had some decent CGI, but the practical effects were honestly what really sold it. So I would want Raven would want that's hard.
I know it's so hard.
Raven
Derek
would
knows.
want Old Smash. Raven would want practical special effects done for each of the deaths in order to make them more meaningful and impactful to the storyline.
Yeah.
Huzzah, bravo, Derek.
Derek wants to ask, are we still doing this?
We got one more minute.
Okay.
Did you want me to like?
No. Derek's fine. Derek's fine. So yeah, Derek agrees with Raven. Derek thinks that that's probably one of the biggest missteps because again, Derek thinks that if they just carried that practical effect and those what we get in the opening, Derek thinks if they just carry that all the way through the movie would be significantly better, even with all of those misgivings. So, you know, if I was only able to if Derek was only able to wave his redo magic wand for a minimal amount of things, that would be probably the biggest thing that Derek would change. Derek thinks there's probably some other things in there, like pick a scene, whichever one you want, just pick one. Because one of those has to be what happens, but it cannot be both. Just make a decision. That's what Derek thinks. So yeah.
Bravo, Derek.
Raven thinks there is a way to tie those two particular scenes together, but Raven does not think that the writers had the best grip on what they were going to be doing. So they ended up making disjointed storylines that ran parallel rather than together.
Yeah, Derek thinks, doesn't it feel like they made two opening sequences and then it got cut and then one got moved to the end and one got moved to the beginning? Like they weren't filmed in continuity. They were literally like, okay, well, this is going to be an opening or this is going to be an opening. And then whoever was in the editing room was like, no, we need both.
Raven thinks the editor was not even made aware of what was supposed to be going on with this movie. And so when they looked at the footage, they went, I think this is supposed to go at the beginning. I guess this goes at the end.
Those are quotes for anybody listening. Those are quotes. But actually, bravo. That has been our 5 minutes of speaking in third person.
God, that's so hard. it's in concept. Like when somebody says it, you're like, oh, that's easy. But then you don't realize how much you refer to yourself when you're talking about things. Yeah, it's so hard.
I applaud Tom Hardy for doing Venom. Jesus Christ. That's first, second, and third person.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree with you both completely. That it's very you can throw a nut in the story and be like, whatever it lands on, let's fix it. Anytime. You could throw
Yeah.
100 nuts and want to change all of it. I mean, talent did a great job as they could. If this was to be redone, I know for sure that effects would be way better. Way better. I would love to know who would be the recasted roles if they were going to recast the roles or continue a story. It'd be hard because most of them are already dead and they have aged in 20 years, so you can't just.
I think I would lean into the prequel.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I think
prequel.
that's
lean into a prequel. Give us something different. Give us something new, and like take from a culture that we don't normally see.
Yeah,
so that it's less predictable.
Yeah, there's so much creativity you can do if you do a prequel, and again, Ghost Ship already alludes to the fact that like he's a demon and this is his job and he's been doing it forever. So like that there's just generations of things that he's been using, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the ship. Hell, show us a ship he was on before and how he shows up on this one, because he lost that one in a similar fashion because someone sank it, and then along comes the Garza and he's like, oh, well, here's a new ship. Like I'm totally down for that. I think that kind of stuff is fascinating. So yeah, I think the prequel idea is the way to go.
Absolutely. Sure. And like they did Prey so flippin' well. Flippin' well.
Good.
So if there's any proof of just put it in a different time period with a different group of people, there's your perfect example.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yep.
The other thing that I wanted to say was the canned food scene is really the reason why I, growing up, didn't trust canned food. Anything else?
They sell the shit out of that scene, by the way. They sell the hell out of that scene. Oh, it's so good.
And like when you're curious and you Google things, because Google was brand new back in that time, you find things that you don't want to find. Like a can of tomatoes can have up to 1 maggot per 500 grams. And in tomato juice and tomato paste, it's 1 maggot per 100 gram for broth. Same with maraschino, but we're not talking about maggots in food. We're talking about Ghost Ship.
Which has maggots in food, so it all ties together. So
full circle. Anything that you guys want to add? Any last statements, final words?
Honestly, if there's anybody out there who decides we're gonna go with a prequel, please contact us, because I would love to be in on that process.
Yeah.
On so many levels. I am a nerd. I'm a geek. I do podcast shit, all kinds of different stuff. So being in on the creation portion of it would be it would mean a lot.
Yeah. No, I think we've gone through quite a bit, but there is a good movie in here. There really is. It's buried in there somewhere, but there is a good movie in here. And I do think that I genuinely would like someone to extrapolate that good movie and, kind of put it in a new place and a new time. And I think you could make a very, very good, high quality ghost movie for very little money, honestly. And I would genuinely like to see that, because I think there are strengths in here. And I think if you take all those strengths out and drop some of their weaknesses, you have a 4 out of 5 horror movie. It's there. Yeah. It's there. The groundwork is there. So
yeah, you just need to actually proofread your scripts and stories before you throw the cast in there on that table read.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Well, I mean, fudge nuggets, that's all the time we got today to talk about Ghost Ship 2002, 20 years old, starting tomorrow, which is insane. Shout out to my guests, Raven and Derrick, for being on the show. Raven, please tell everybody where they can find you.
So you can find me over on Twitter and Instagram, Dame Red Thread, but I will be rebranding as soon as possible to Sanguine Threads. So yes, you will find me. Come start a conversation. I'd love to talk to you. Yay! Thank you.
Awesome.
Yay, and Derrick.
Yeah, so you guys can find me at DRock Comedy on Instagram and Twitter. That's DROK Comedy. You can also find me on nerdbot.com, and I have a link tree so you can find all the horror reviews that I've done recently, and then I've started adding some of the new ones. Would love to get a separate site that just links straight to that one so that all the reviews are in one place. But yes, I do movie reviews, review a ton of stuff. There's like 150 out already this year that I've done. It's insane. All movies just blend into one now. So Ghost Ship is basically Black Adam. They're the same movie to me.
The way you describe Black Adam brings me so much joy. What is it that you used on Facebook? What was the term?
It's a movie that exists in 2022. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has a cast that actually does performances in that movie. That's it. It's
a movie. You go in, you watch it, you get out.
That's all Black Adam is.
Shoot, now I wish like we did it.
I'm already like I've pretty much turned off notifications across all media platforms because I knew as soon as I wrote my review, I knew it was just going to be nothing but people like, you just hate DC, blah blah blah. Marvel's paying you, and I'm like, guys, look, if I was getting Disney fuck you money, there would be signs. Trust me, you would know if Marvel was paying me for praising her. I promise. I promise.
I'm a little bit of a Marvel girl, but I always love it when the DCU or DCEU people like go, it's because you like Marvel. It's like, I like Marvel, but I can also admit when Marvel has some shit.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like Thor Love and Thunder.
Not good. Didn't care for it.
Oh, I was really hoping for more.
Yeah,
it had some like amazing like things that I really thought they were gonna follow through with. I thought I was gonna have more investment in, and just it didn't do it. Thor Ragnarok, on the other hand, loved it. Like it really solidified what I wanted a Thor movie to be. And I'm like, I can tell you good and bad, and trust me, not everything that Marvel makes is good. It's really not.
I've given a lot of 3 out of 5s for a lot of Marvel stuff, guys. But yeah, tons of reviews. I'm knee deep in award season now, so I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Seeing like all the movies that show up in the Oscars, I'm trying to get done before they even show up. So yeah, definitely check those out.
Mass kudos to your hard work, because I always see like your progress. Like I've got 40 done. I have 100 something more to go. I'm like, I don't know how this man does this.
This list never stops.
How does he do this? I don't. Man, I guess you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Honestly, if you look for G4 anything, that's what I used to do. You'll probably see me saying some shit in the thread. I don't know. Just follow on Nom Talk too, because that's also something I respond to. Tune in next time, which is Monday, I think, where we will maybe talk about, and I always do ifs and maybes, because who knows what's going to happen. Maybe my internet might take a shit. Tune in to possibly our next show, which will be on Monday, where we talk about Starship Troopers. Derrick and I are familiar with this now because of Retro Crew Review, so maybe we'll have a round 2 and just completely demolish the movie. But otherwise,
that's a cinematic masterpiece, by the way.
And I gave it.
That's for Monday. That's
what we're
Monday.
Call it? Is that what we're gonna call it?
Yep. Paul Verhoeven. Ooh, get it, baby, get it. I love it. Tell me about Nazi fascism. Let's go.
Sweet Jesus. Yeah. So definitely tune in on Monday, or it's gonna happen. If you were just tuning in, I'm so sorry for you hopping in so late. Listen to us on any podcast platform, or watch this the next day on YouTube. Okay, great. Have a good night. Bye.